and we feel that they are the expert in that country. That's all, nothing else. But this is very good way to
And then you have one guy who is a top performer, and you think he's like way better than all others, but it just happens that the account that he was assigned is the best one.
They don't have intention to buy, but they just say that let's come on a call and let's share what you have, and then we will decide what.
Send me an email is a very often objection, and I don't like that one because usually when I get this reply, send me an email. I want to learn more, but send me an email.
When you are building team, or maybe getting started in SDR, or maybe generating leads, right? There are multiple things which comes under your process, right? So you have to do multi-channel, you have to be there on LinkedIn, over the mail, over the cold calling, all those stuffs are there.
So there is no like 100% quota. Once you reach 100%, you want to hit 150. The grit is very important. So those are some of the traits that I'm looking when hiring my SDRs.
Hello everyone, welcome back once again. So today we have one of my favorites SDR influencer. I'm following him from very long. We are in the same community and I really love the way he put out content. So welcome, Sava.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad that you are a big fan of my content. I did not know there are some guys that are like so into it, what I write and what I share. I'm glad I'm growing my community and really happy to be with you.
Yeah, so I love the way you're putting out influencer whom we should follow, the way you're putting out, how we should write mail, when we should do the follow-ups, all those stuff. I really wanted to know when you started this SDR stuff and what was the journey.
Honestly, if we talk about tech sales, my journey hasn't been that long, to be honest. I've been in a tech sales maybe for a year and a half, but I have to say I had some managerial roles before that. So talking about sales overall, I've been in sales probably for some 20 years now. So I am kind of old school guy. And also in a B2B segment, I was probably around 10 years. So I've been around for many years, but in tech sales specifically, selling software, I've been just a year and a half. It's really about experience that I come from previous organization. I was engaged in multiple industries, and I'm trying to use some of this past experience and to reflect on tech sales, even though tech sales is way different than any other, let's say, industries. And I'm sure we're going to discuss a little bit more about that.
Yeah, definitely. So, as we have discussed, like there are clients in India, there are clients in US and other region, right? I really want to know what is the major challenge you face while generating leads in India and other than India.
I mean, okay, there are always challenges. When we talk about my SDR team, obviously, US is the most dominant market for us for DeckRobot. Our AI tool for PowerPoint presentations really target the largest consulting companies, US as being the most dominant market, but also there are other geographies, obviously, DACH region and some countries of EU are very important, UK as well. Coming to India, obviously a very big country. We probably cannot really charge as high as we charge in US, but at the moment we are really onboarding several new logos in India, and we are really onboarding way more customers than we onboard in some other countries. So that's good for us. And challenges are, as always, if we talk about some challenges for SDRs, I can probably say it's a time difference, the time zone difference. If we are a European-based SDR team, which means we always struggle, reaching out people at their ideal time. Like if we talk about East Coast or West Coast, also India is some 3.5, 4 hours ahead of us, which means we need to align because you always want to be at the perfect timing for your prospects, not your perfect timing. When we talk about cold calling, we understand that there are really two great times for calling. One is early in the morning, probably from 9 a.m. up to 11 or 12 p.m. And then the other one is like late afternoon, probably somewhere from 2 p.m. up to 5 p.m. So you really have to be active during those hours, but your prospects out. So there is always some challenges, India probably being more traditional country, which means if we just look and search those leads on LinkedIn, we sometimes have issue to understand whether some prospects are within our ICP or not. We know the titles are really always not clear with the Indians. It's probably easier for us to understand US folks whether or not by just judging by the title and the LinkedIn profile whether that person is within our ICP criteria or not. With India, it might be a little bit different. Also, when we jump on the call, I guess it's okay to say a little bit about India, right? You don't mind?
For sure. I'll definitely love to know these things, and these are the major things which I'll also face. So
Okay.
yeah.
Indians are usually polite and they don't want to reject you. So sometimes my SDRs, they book meetings, right? But they are not really qualified meetings. And then we always have this issue. Obviously, nobody wants to waste time, right? We don't want to waste account executives' time. We don't want to waste company resources. At the same time, we don't want to waste prospects' time. And then we sometimes end up on the call with Indian folks. They seem to be decision maker. Everything is fine. Everything is in place, but they simply just wanted to learn more about our product without really having a clear intention to move forward. And that kind of pisses us off from time to time, but that's the part of the job. And we are obviously learning. So probably what we do in those cases, we just keep asking more qualifying questions. We just want to make sure that we disqualify right away prospects that are really not the best fit for us. So with Indian guys, we do a little bit more work, if I may say that.
Yeah, that happens. So in India, people don't say no upfront, right?
Yeah.
They don't have intention to buy, but they just say that let's come on a call and let's share what you have, and then we will decide at what.
Send me an email is a very often objection, and I don't like that one because usually when I get this reply, send me an email. I want to learn more, but send me an email. And I usually ask them, what do you want to see in that email? Because nothing can bring alive, our demo, our product in words, right? Or in any PDF file or any kind of presentations. I need to kind of have a face-to-face interaction to you just to kind of really show you the value and just to check with you if there is a use case for you. Is it really relevant for you and your team? So sending an email is probably one of the objections we heard a lot from Indian guys, and we don't like that one because emails usually they don't tell the story, right?
Yeah.
So we try to avoid emails as much as possible because the demo call, this short demo meeting of 20 minutes is really what's needed to kind of go over our product features and just to understand if you guys have a pain points that our solution can solve and if there is a use case for your company or not. And that's something cannot be determined via emails, right?
Right. So you have also, put out content regarding this, how to handle objection handling like this, right? This kind of
Yeah,
objection, send me an email or call me after
yeah,
certain time or something like that. How you
yeah.
handle these queries, how you handle these objections that you don't understand email, but how you handle it?
I mean, there is obviously as a salesman, sometimes no doesn't really mean no, right? Because in Deck Robot, for example, we are in enterprise sales and we go after decision makers. So those guys, they are high seniority guys leading some of the, let's say, largest consulting companies. And that means they're very busy. Their schedules are busy and it's really not easy to drive their attention, I can just recall that, maybe 1 year ago, maybe it was enough to have like 4, 5, or 6 touch points to drive their attention. Now it probably takes 10 to 12 touch points to get a response from those guys. I'm not now saying, is it a negative or positive reply? I'm just saying any kind of response, right? In most cases, it's negative and salespeople are used on rejections. That's fine. So it really takes way more time. And objection handlings, I think they are way more important when you do call calling. In the call calling, you have to be really good with your objection handling. With emails, okay, you do have some templates. So if they are not interested, you would probably ask who would be the who would be the most appropriate people to talk with, or if, as I mentioned, send me an email. It's also another objection handling. I never like that one because, I send the email with some PDF file with maybe some Loom video or something like that. And I often don't hear back from that guy because, as you just said, and I agree with you, Indians seem to be very polite, and saying no is probably something they don't do often. And instead of telling you, hey, this is not for me, I don't see the relevancy, they're going to tell you, something like, okay, send me more materials. That's the same way as telling you, hey, take me off the list or whatever. So yeah, I mean, we do have almost like a weekly training sessions with our SDR teams. We cover different topics. Sometimes we do mock calls. Sometimes we do cold calling together. For example, we are organizing this coming week, actually, objection handling, because we try to increase, the volume with the cold calling. We try to hit more numbers with cold calling because we feel that cold calling is becoming more and more effective channel. It's probably way more effective than maybe it was like a year ago. So we want to kind of increase the numbers with cold calling, and really objection handling skills are very important when you do cold calling, right?
So these cold callings are good medium in India or other regions also. So as per my understanding,
Yeah.
US, UK these people don't like cold calling. They don't wanted to get unwanted calls. They like to get emails. If they are not interested, they will write you back that I don't wanted to get
Yeah.
into this. So
Pratik, I cannot fully agree with you, but I can share some of let's say statistics that kind of I experience in my org, right? So with the cold calling is really a number game, which really means you have to call a lot. Let's be very clear. So I'll give you very simple statistics. Out of 100 calls that I'm gonna make today, I'm gonna get to talk with 7 or 8 people at most. So connects rate is around 7 or 8% only. Out of those 7-8 conversations, I will book one meeting. So I usually look at the ratio 108-1. I need to make 100 calls. I talk with 7-8 people. Out of this 7-8 conversation, I book one meeting. And it's really, that's the industry standards that pretty much we are all seeing. That means it's really a number game. So if you really guys want to call like 20, 30 people a day, so you might not as well do the calling, because the cold calling is, it's a number game, and you just need to keep dialing, And going back to US, I think, as a matter of fact, I think that US folks, they're quite used to cold calling, to be honest. It's probably way better than in Europe. In Europe, people get surprised when they see the unknown number and who the hell is this guy on the other phone? Why is he calling me? In US, it's not that, but what I'm seeing lately with the US market, and this is somehow affecting our outbound efforts, there are more and more robots calling, to be honest. AI tool helping
IVR calling is happening, yeah.
So I call that robot calling, and this is why people tend to have this negative attitude toward cold calling, but it wasn't really like that some times ago. So I guess we have to readjust our outbound efforts and to really be more human. And I think cold calling is effective because this is as human as it gets. By just writing email or trying to reach out somebody via LinkedIn, writing LinkedIn messages, that's good, but it's only words. And it might be bot really writing those words. But, when I get you on the phone, actually, you're going to hear my voice. You're going to sense, the tonality. You're going to see that I'm sincere or I'm not sincere. You're going to see the energy, the passion that I have for my product, whether it is a real one or is it a false one, but you're going to feel it. This is why I like to say that cold calling is really as human as it gets. And this is why I believe the cold calling is very effective channel.
So if anyone wanted to start a career in SDR in B2B, right, as SDR, what they
Yeah,
really should do and what they really should learn to being a superstar as a SDR?
yeah, yeah. Let me try to narrow down because this is a very, very broad topic. I usually start with the consistency and discipline.
Hmm.
Going back to my role when I started as a SDR, I was definitely not the best with cold calling. I mean, there
Hmm.
were guys doing great cold calls, having great scripts, and they seemed to be, like a cold calling killers. I was probably not even on the average. I was somewhere at the bottom, honestly. Then, I was also probably never like that good with personalizing sales messages. My messages were somewhere there. I understood from day one that I had to personalize. I have to bring relevancy with personalization. So I wasn't really sending these automated emails only. But again, I was really not that good. And so, but one thing that probably set me apart from all other SDRs back then was really my consistency. Where SDR role is an entry role, right? So you guys have to keep building your pipeline. Really, you have to build your pipeline each and every day. So consistency is very important. Hitting your numbers, sending certain number of emails each and every day, making calls each and every day, sending LinkedIn messages, doing all this multi-channel prospecting, consistency and discipline, as I mentioned. So you guys, when you come on Monday, for example, you know exactly what you are supposed to do, not just for the Monday, but for the whole week. So that means that you're going to have to prepare on Friday. On Friday, we understand it's kind of slow day and pretty much we don't do much. Let's be very honest, right? We don't do much, but like the top SDRs, they're going to prepare their leads on Friday. So when they come on Monday, they can have their early, like a morning coffee. They can enjoy their morning coffee because everything is ready. They know exactly what accounts they're going to outreach. They already check the leads. They already built their lead lists. They verify the emails. Everything is ready. The phone numbers, emails are verified. The lead lists are complete. So when they come on Monday morning, they know exactly what they are supposed to do, starting at 9 a.m. up to, I don't know, 4, 5, or 6 p.m. As long as they work, they know exactly the workflow. So the consistency and discipline is very important. Curiosity, we don't often talk about curiosity, but, I like to say curiosity over being right. You
Hmm.
don't have to be right. When I was in some other industries, they taught me that I need to kind of know everything.
Hmm.
And tech sales, you don't need to know everything because tech sales changes so much. What it used to work like a year ago might not work today. So you always have to test. You always have to experiment. For example, emails were performing way better 6 months ago. Emails are almost dead today. Does that mean that I will stop sending emails? No. I always do a multi-channel prospecting, but since my emails are not doing good, I'm going to say what I need to, where can I increase? Okay, should I do more cold calling or should I maybe start sending more voice messaging on my LinkedIn? Or should I record my personal video in my emails? What can I do? So curiosity, talking with top performers, mirroring those guys, asking for help, asking your leaders for a mentorship. Those are the very important things. So being curious, always look, what can I do differently from other guys? What can set me apart? And then grit. Grit is that state where it's more like a mindset where you say it's never there. Once
Hmm.
you reach your goals, you're not happy. The grid says, you are never there. You have this competitive mindset. You always want more. So there is no like 100% quota. Once you reach 100%, you want to hit 150. The grit is very important. So those are some of the traits that I'm looking when hiring my SDRs.
Hmm. I really love the way you put out the entire day sheet in your one of content, right? You wrote it that what every SDR should do at starting of day, middle of day, and at night of the day,
Yeah,
right? I love that content, and also you mentioned that what you should do when you are wrapping up the week. That's really important.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so I also wanted to know when you are building team or maybe getting started in SDR or maybe generating leads, right? There are multiple things which comes under your process, right? So you have to do multi-channel, you have to be there on LinkedIn, over the mail, over the cold calling, all those stuffs are there, right? How you should prioritize that what's working for you, and you should put more effort on those channels.
yeah. There is always a level of uncertainty when you do outreach. Even when you pick the best leads that really seems to fit for your ICP, you can never be 100% sure. So what you mentioned multi-channel prospecting, and you said emails and cold calling and social selling, LinkedIn, right? Also video and voice prospecting. So one thing is Warren Buffett, a famous American millionaire, said once, don't put all eggs in one basket. And
Hmm.
I really follow this philosophy because I don't know if emails will work well or the cold calling. You mentioned that in US and some parts of Europe, cold calling is not that effective. And it really has, not all weeks are the same. Not all accounts are the same. Not all geographies are the same. We understand, for example, the next week we have a Thanksgiving in US, and we know Thanksgiving is uh, obviously one of the biggest holidays in US. So are you gonna outreach US market next week? You might, but you will be unsuccessful. So
Hmm.
you have to think strategically about everything that is going on over you. So every morning I ask my SDRs to sit down and either with their coffees or whatever they're gonna do, and they're gonna check how their sequences are performing. What is the open rate? What is the reply rate? Why is it low if it is low? Or what can we do to improve it? If emails are kind of not doing well, should I increase my cold calling? It makes sense. It might not make sense. You don't want to cold call US guys during Thanksgiving holidays, but you might want to increase calling with the Indians or maybe some other geographies, UK, European Union, or other geographies that are, let's say, within your let's say ICP geography reach. So multi-channel, meaning you kind of wanna try to reach out people on different channels, and multi accounts as well, not just multi channels but also multi accounts. So for example, on Friday I assign accounts to my SDRs, and the way I do it, obviously I give them one. Let's say each SDR gets usually one or two accounts in the US, but it also gets one, two, or even more accounts in Europe or in other geographies that we have outbound efforts, right? What does that mean? If there is, as I mentioned, Thanksgiving next week, it makes sense that we will decrease our outreach for US guys for the next week, and then we will just come back the week after, which is fine. So really thinking about strategically and readjusting according to priorities and according to market conditions, really. So it's not just a multi-channel, but it's also a multi-account. And then, if let's say US guys are not responding because whatever might be the reason, maybe you're going to have more luck in India or UK, for example. And then there are some other occasions that the other territory will not do good. Then you will have probably more success on some other geography. But at the end of the day, or on Friday, at the end of the week, you should have some kind of success somewhere. So not all the weeks are the same. Sometimes you perform better one week, some weeks are terribles and you get almost zero demos booked. But at least with a multi-channel prospecting and a multi-account, let's say, outbound strategy, you should be getting some results each and every every week, which really comes to the consistency part that I was mentioning about. Being consistent, multi-channel prospecting with several accounts at the same time should give you results at the end of the day.
That's really important point you mentioned. I know. So most of the companies or most of the SDR try to focus on niche. They are focusing on one reason, one type of ICP, one time schedule, right? And they're not doing multiple accounts, right? So why you are doing it, right? Why you are giving multiple time zones, multiple reason, multiple industry to every SDRs? At one point is there, like for festival or something like that. But what is the other benefit? Is it not okay to focus on one part, one reason, and one niche that will give more industry knowledge and more outcome?
Yeah, first of all, you mentioned your ICP. You want to assign accounts that fit 100% within your ICP criteria. So you don't want to assign one thing that you can really do poorly as a SDR leader is really to assign accounts to your SDRs that are not good fit. So if your prospects do not have pain points that your solution can solve, the sales will not happen. So there are no sales tips and tricks that will work. No pain, no sales, right? So as a SDR leader, you want to make sure that you assign accounts on certain territories that are probably the best fit for your ICP criteria. So that's number one, and by saying I assign the multiple accounts to my SDRs doesn't mean that I kind of give them accounts that are outside my ICP. That doesn't make sense, right? But once again, you don't want to put all your, let's say, all risk at a single place. The same thing, the same way with a multi-channel. You don't just want to do cold calling, because what if cold calling, let's say if your connects rate is like 2%, which means out of 100 people that you call, you get to talk with 2 people. What are the chances that out of those 2 single guys, you will get positive reply? Very low, very skim. So you don't want to kind of bet on cold calling only. This is why we do other channels. The same go with accounts. I try, I have like 10, 11 SDRs in my team, and I try to, obviously my job is to make my SDR team successful, right? And we need to give them a fair chance for everyone. So I cannot give to one guy only US, and he might be getting the best results because he's, let's say, outreaching our best market with the highest potentials. And then the other guy might be doing only India or only UK or only Germany, Switzerland, DACH region overall, right? So you kind of want to give to each and every of them a multiple accounts so that, they have enough room to really prove that they are creative enough, skillful enough to, bring enough qualified leads into pipeline. So I think that would be my strategy.
And that's really important. Most of the people don't understand. This is also I'm going to implement in my organization. So far, dedicated person, dedicated SDR at looking at dedicated region or maybe dedicated country, and we feel that they are the expert in that country. That's all, nothing else. But this is very good way to,
And then you have one guy who is a top performer, and you think he's like way better than all others, but it just happens that the account that he was assigned is the best one. So for me, that's not fair, So yes, there are some, when you are talking about more specialized products, maybe with maybe more, let's say, technological background needed, it makes sense that you specialize in certain areas. So let me give you some example. For example, if you want to really target only Germany, we know that Germany is probably always one of the best European countries in terms of the customers and the value that it can bring to tech companies. It would make sense that you assign Germany as a territory for a German-speaking SDR. What we see in Tech Robot, that doesn't make much difference. We did have one guy who kind of spoke German, and we thought he would utilize the German language. But the thing is, we go after decision makers of some of the biggest consulting companies, and all those decision makers in Germany, they speak English fluently. So we did not see the difference. But I'm not saying in some other industries that the German speaking SDR would probably be more effective within the Germany and DACH region overall, right? With all other German speaking countries, would probably make sense that you assign Germany to this guy. In our case, this was not happening, which is the reason why instead of just giving one specific territory for one or two SDRs, we just said, you know what, guys, you will be getting a little bit of US outreach, but also a bit UK, India. So they all have pretty much US and outside US. Those are our two biggest differentiators are like US territories and outside US, so they usually get a little bit of both.
One last question, Sarva. What should be the next step for any SDR to excel in their life? So let's say I'm working in SDR from last 5 years or maybe 6 years, right? What I should do next? Should I go for AE? Should I go for CGO or something like that? What should I do?
I don't think you should be an SDR for 5-6 years.
Okay.
So it's not easy to be SDR, right? Hitting numbers day by day, that's pretty much all you do. So the only thing that SDRs do, they just hit numbers. They build pipeline, and they cannot do that forever. So the companies, they should have a clear promotion path. What do I need to do to, let's say, jump from, let's say, SDR to maybe senior SDR, or from senior SDR to junior account executive, or from senior SDR to, let's say, regular account executive? So first of all, companies should have a clear promotion path, because you cannot expect a top performer. The top performer will be at its peak for like 6 months, maybe 12 months. And if he or she clearly does not see like the promotion path and some other compensation package within the company, he or she will leave the company, right? So you don't expect top performers to stay where they are for like the whole year or 2 years or something. But coming to an SDR role, so I think it's very important for SDRs to understand one thing. Our job does not end by booking the demo call. Most SDRs think once I book a demo call, that's it, my job is done. That's not the case. Once you book a demo call, first of all, you want to make sure that the guy shows up on the call, right? So you want to make sure, first of all, that you book very qualified meetings. So you don't want to waste account executives' time. Because if you do waste account executives' time, account executives will not treat you in a proper way. They're going to understand that you are bringing low qualified meetings, and they will not really take care of you. The other thing is really, I talk a lot about SDR and account executive alignment. These partnerships should be very strong. I believe that SDR and account executive collaboration is a crucial in driving revenue growth in any organization. So SDRs book meetings, account executives hopefully close some of these meetings, but they have to have a strong partnership, right? So talking regularly with your account executives, trying to understand what was good or what wasn't good with certain lead that you brought into their pipeline. For example, if they converted to SQL, sales qualified lead, what did qualify this lead to be converted to SQL? Was it really that good persona or seniority or title? Was there a clear use case? What are other, let's say, components that made this persona or this specific account really the great fit, and why it was converted to SQL? So SDRs, if they really want to speed up their career progression, if they really want to get this promotion to account executive, they should really work closely with account executives. And maybe if you are a senior SDR and really kind of being a top performer, it makes sense that you ask your leader or you ask some of your account executives, hey, listen, I see that your calendar is very busy lately. How about if I start taking some demo calls that are maybe not with the best leads? Like if you don't feel that some leads are that great and you feel like you would be losing the time, how about if you give me so I can start doing these low quality demo calls and I save you a little bit of time. And at the same time, I start practicing my account executive skills because you want to visualize yourself in this new role. So when the time comes and you are about to be promoted, leadership doesn't really have to think much whether you're going to perform successfully or whether you are really ready for the next role because you are already doing it. So those are some of the things that SDR should do, and really all SDR leaders and VPs of sales and leadership overall really have to have a clear promotion path for SDRs because it's tough being in the trenches day by day, hitting your numbers, getting all these rejections. You cannot keep up with that for years, right? And so if you're really good in SDRing, your next step is to become account executive because you should start with client-facing roles and you should get these full cycle sales responsibilities. But there is so much more that you can do than just booking the demo.
Yeah.
I feel sorry when I see some SDRs who feel, I booked the demo, my job is done. I'm going to outreach some new logos. That's fine, but you need to do more. You need to show your account executives that you are really supportive, that if they cannot organize the follow-up meeting because they are missing the phone number or they cannot get the guy on the call, you might tell him, hey, Mark, hey, John, listen, what's going on with this follow-up call? I see in CRM it's not moving forward. Is there anything I can help you? And they're going to tell you, hey, Srba, listen, I've been trying to reach this guy for 2 weeks and I've been ghosted. And I said, yeah, that's fine, Mark. Let me try to organize the call. And then this executive said, look at this Srba, man, he's doing some additional work and he's really helpful. So when the time is right and there is account executive promotions, I'll probably be the first on the list to get promoted.
True, Srba. I mean, and this is what we all have to do. So there's one thing which I just reading up, So if you're working somewhere and someone giving you work, you'll be always an employee. But if you're asking and you're finding a way to do more work, you'll get the opportunity to get the work. You'll be the leader, and this is what you exactly mentioned. So you have to figure out that.
Yeah, and going back to curiosity over being right, once you start kind of performing well, you should not now become like cocky and start thinking, yeah, I'm master of my outreach, I know everything. You should always be curious, really. The curiosity is a very important trait, especially in 21st century with all this technology evolution and being in the tech sales, we sell softwares that really gets updates in such a frequent manner. There are so many competition arriving almost like on a weekly or monthly basis. So you really have to stay curious, like what works best for me today, like not like what was working like 6 months ago or a week ago. What's working today? I'm like, what should I do to stand out from the crowd? Sending emails, hundreds and hundreds of emails with only a little bit of personalization will not do good. But maybe start voice prospecting or video prospecting. Those are some things that can make you stand out from the crowd. And so curiosity, asking, having these one-on-one talks with your account executives or with top performing SDRs, that's always something I suggest to my SDRs, have at least on a weekly basis, have 1 or 2 one-on-one talks with anyone in your company, really. Try to pick top performers, talk with them and tell them, hey, you know what? Your emails have way higher open rate than mine. Can I check your subject line, or how does your email body look like? Is it different than mine? Or like your reply rate is like 15% and mine is only 5%. How you are getting people to reply on my emails? What are you doing differently? So asking questions and really talking with top performers can really help you learn and improve, obviously. And that's going to set you apart from the rest of the team for sure.
Yeah, that's really impressive. Thank you so much, Sova, for being here. Thank you so much. I'd also like to mention all of you that he runs a boot camp and he's also, consultancy. So if anyone wanted to have a word, please reach out to him.
Sure, sure.
Link is already there in description. And thank you so much, Sova. It was great talking to you.
Thank you so much. It's always good to share, let's say, some values, some knowledge that I might have with other guys. And, the reason for me being active on LinkedIn is really, I feel LinkedIn is probably the best professional community by far. And the idea of giving and really not expecting to get anything in return is very important. So I try to share some ideas, let's say, over SDR prospecting, obviously, lead generation and prospecting. And then, I get so many responses from different people. So I really learn a lot from them. And that's why I'm going to keep posting and obviously keep building my personal brand. And yes, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Send me your ideas, anything that you might have, maybe some concerns. I'll be more than happy to answer some of them, and hopefully I'll give you some useful ideas and suggestions. Pratik, once again, thank you for having me today. It was my pleasure.
Same here, man.